How tall is Jeff Garcia? Jeff Garcia was an undrafted quarterback. We're talking about the first pick in the draft, Little City. Light City. We're talking about the number one guy in the draft. Yeah, Jeff Garcia, great. 5'2", I don't care. First pick in the draft? No, thank you. Who cares? They didn't. He was an undrafted dude. I think he played where? Santa Clara or San Jose State, somebody like that. Number one pick in the draft. What's his measurables? Oh, he's 5'10 and a half, 180 pounds. Excuse me? What is that? What are you talking about? What position does he play? Is he a receiver at least? No, he's a starting quarterback for your franchise. Okay, so I'm going to go from Deshaun Watson at 6'4", 250 pounds to what now? 5'10 and a half, 180? Holy cow, it's like his little brother. Hey, man. I mean, that guy would look funny sitting on Deshaun Watson's knee. Be like a ventriloquist. Holy cow. Who is this? This is Bryce Harper. Hey, let's take a look at those quarterbacks that are coming out of Alabama lately. Whew. Let's see. Mac Jones, Tua, banged up. Hey, by the way, you think the Dolphins should pick up the option on his 5th year? Okay. You think he should pick up the option? Whew. I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, do you think you should pick the option up on scrambles? I'm sorry I said that. Come on, man. Man. You know what, though? Think about it. What's your options? If you get Lamar, Joseph goes, they better get out while they can. My problem with the whole thing would be, what if he gets hurt again, man? I don't want that on my watch. Watching a guy float around there, man, he can't get through a season. Hey, it's one thing to be injured like elbows, knees, even Carson Wentz stuff. But to have concussions continually. I was checking out Devon Witherspoon. He's pretty small, 6 foot 183 compared to Gonzalez and Porter. Yeah, but can I tell you something? No. D-Mad, you know who he reminds me of? Remember Bob Sanders that was in that Colts defense? He plays like that guy. Would you like to have Bob Sanders patrolling your secondary? Boy, I would. Remember Bob Sanders? You guys remember Bob Sanders? Played for the Colts, played for Tony. That guy reminds me of Bob Sanders. Dan, would you trade Slay for Ramsey? I would if I didn't have to give anything up. But I don't like that. I don't know how much Ramsey makes. Then again, he can't make more than Slay, can he? He might, though. Man, they gave up like 3 ones for him. The Rams gave up a ton of 3s to the Jags for him. Bob Sanders is a good ball player, man. And that's who this kid, Devon Witherspoon, reminds me of. He reminds me of that guy. Now, remember something with Bob? He had one problem when the way he played, remember? He hit dude so hard, he injured himself. And he missed a lot of ball games. I think he played his college ball in Iowa. So he's a Big Ten guy. If I'm not mistaken, Tone, I think if I'm right, I think Bob Sanders played his ball at Iowa. And I think he's a Big Ten dude too. And he played in that conference. If I'm not mistaken, I think Sanders was a Big Ten guy. Nolan Smith just ran a 4.44. Wow. Yeah, Bob Sanders would put a hat on somebody. That's exactly right, Ray. He could play, man. And this kid reminds me kind of that. Yes, Iowa. But Bob had a head. But Bob had head and neck issues constantly, unfortunately. Yeah, it was his size. He was not the biggest dude. And he just threw his body around. He flew into guys. Dude, the guy's on his own team. I forget, what was the linebacker's name? Brackens? And Dwight Freeney, who's a Connecticut guy, told me every time, man, they were in a pile and he come flying in there. Man, he hurt his teammates more than he hurt the opposing team. He's just flying in there every time they come out of the pile, and he's like, bro, you're killing. Or that guy Cornette, the kid from Texas A&M that played linebacker there. He'd be like, this guy, man, he flies in here, breaks your body up. Rod Woodson played at Purdue because he ran track at Purdue. He was a high hurdler at Purdue. Woodson played at, and Charles Woodson played at Michigan. So, Rod Woodson's a Purdue guy, and Charles Woodson is a Michigan guy. Tony Brackens could play. He was a good ball player too, man. 5'8", 280. Guy was a heat missile, man. All right, let's do the draft running backs. Now, let me ask you this. What's a priority? Out of 128 possible games played in his career, Sanders only was healthy to play 50 of them. Wow. Terrible. Wow. What's a priority on running back, you think, for the Eagles? What's the priority here? What's the priority? How high? Scale of 1 to 10. What's a priority? Wow, Van Ness, the kid from Iowa, ran a 4.64. Beal just ran a 4.53. It's backers and D linemen right now. Let me do this here. Brenton Cox, defensive line, 4.85. Not bad. Let me give you guys the rundowns because this could be a position that the Eagles. This is the kid from Florida. I actually like this kid. High range, great arms. He's got great wingspan. His first run, he ran a 4.85. He ran a 4.88. For an edge guy, not quick enough for me. 4.88 for a D end. I would say Josh Sweat probably runs a 4.5, 4.6. That's a little slow. Actually, he's faster than Boza. Boza ran a 4.40. Wow, I didn't know that. Nick, too. Huh. Okay, they went to commercial. We're going to go back to that. We're going to go back to the draft, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. Wow. How much of a priority do you think this is? What did you guys say? 5? Here's the running backs that are in the draft. Bijan Robinson, number 1, 6 foot 220. He's a first day kid. Okay. Which means you could see him go anywhere in the draft on the first round. He could go high. He could go middle. I don't believe he'll be a top 10 kid. Now, this kid's interesting. The kid from Michigan, Blake Corum. He's a second day guy. 5'8", 210. He's a second day dude. Productive. Do running backs out of the Big Ten, is there a lot of production out of the running backs from the Big Ten? Let me think. Eddie George, Le'Veon Bell. Who are the Big Ten running backs in the game today? Penn State guys? Barkley and Miles? So it's a good conference for backs. It's always been. 5'8", 210. little small for me, especially since the problem that the Eagles had, I thought, was red zone running. I don't want my quarterback running red zone. You know? Zeke, Ohio State, Melvin Gordon. Thought Melvin was okay and overdrafted. I never thought he was. I think the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, Sean, I think the Chargers moved up to 16 to get him. I never really thought he was that guy. I'm talking more about the guys that are in the game right now. I know Robert Smith and I know Keith Byers and I know all those guys played. I'm talking about right now because it's a different Big Ten today than it was back then. You know, hey, do you guys know why the Big Ten is different today? This is a little controversial. Should I say it? Why do you think the Big Ten is a lesser conference today than it was back in the day? Jonathan Taylor, that's a great one from Wisconsin. Paul goes, because the SEC. Paul doesn't expand on that. Why? Paul, why the SEC? Paul, expand on that. Chris says coaching. Big Ten was based off of running back, recruiting issues. Vlad, what do you mean by that? SEC takes all the top recruits? No. From the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, 80s, and 90s, integration. All the great players like Bubba Smith and all the great Southern players had to play in the Big Ten. The Big Ten had all the great black players along with the Pac-12. Back then, Pac-8. Now, the Southeastern Conference, all the kids can stay home. They could go to Mississippi State. They can go to A&M. They can go to LSU. The SEC didn't have a lot of black players in it for decades. And so when the SEC finally opened up their eyes and their minds, all the kids in the Southern region and in the West all stayed home. Why? I mean, outside of Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, what's the Big Ten today? Good conference, decent teams. Coaching's good. Players aren't as good. All of them are in the Southeastern Conference and in the West. They opened their eyes finally. That's why Mississippi State, Mississippi, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Kentucky. All these programs now are winning. You know, it's funny. The only one that doesn't win still is Vanderbilt. Right? Yeah, but remember something. Penn State wasn't always a Big Ten school. They were independent. Okay? Yeah, he's a Michigan State kid. I'm not saying you don't get any, but look at how about this? When the draft is said and done, let me know how many SEC players are drafted compared to Big Ten guys. And then that's all you need to know. Vanderbilt is a wonderful campus. Here, let me go back over. I ended it at Quorum from Michigan. I like the kid, but not a lot. I don't like his size. This is this Thomas Income kid. 4.81, not bad. 1.6 in this 10-yard split. So far, Nolan Smith has run the best 40-yard dash. This kid right here is a late round guy. His name is Taylor Lacey. Pretty productive kid. I like the coaches at Oklahoma State, and they're pretty good at producing some defensive linemen. His first 40, he ran a 5.15, not good enough. This kid will be a 5th or 6th rounder, somewhere in there. Looks good. There's Aaron Glenn, Lions defensive coordinator. This is a really great test to see some of these kids. He looks good. I didn't know you got to restart. No way. Not for me. Explosion's not there. Not happening. Ran a 5.19. No. You ain't going high in the draft to 5.19. Now, this kid here, there's Howie Roseman. Holy cow, Big Howie just got a shot on the NFL Network. There's Big Howie. There's one of his assistants. Oh, my God, look at the whole Eagle brasser there. Isaiah Land. Howie's in the building. Just saw Howie. 4.7 flat for this kid, Isaiah Land. Really lean. .466, about 6'4". That's pretty good. Keep an eye on this kid. 4.7, 4.66, got better. 1.65 in a split. Kid's out of Missouri. No, this kid, Isaiah McClure, is out of Missouri. These are some pretty good-looking, talented kids here, man. I went to the combines once with Al, and we're sitting here looking at guys like this, and we're sitting and we're putting all of our notes down. And then what you do at the end of the day, you put all the notes together, and you see which guys match up the most, and those are the guys you identify. That's what they're doing. There's 3 people with sheets with the Eagles right now. They'll put them all together. They'll see if they coincide with one another. 4.84 corner. I mean, defensive end. No way. 4.86. There's Gus Bradley. He's the new Colts defensive coordinator. No Gus well. Yeah. I like that kid from UCLA. I'm going to get to him here in a minute. Here's this kid from Michigan. Mike Morris. No way. 5 flat. Kiss my ass. I like the kid from Pitt. Cody, he's just, he's I like the kid from Pitt. I think he's from Penn State. I mean, not from Penn State. I think he's from Pitt, Cody. So I stopped at Corum. How about number 3 on my list is Zach Charbonneau, UCLA, 6'1", 220. He's a second-day dude. Played in Chip system. Would you be all right with a Chip Kelly guy? How about a Chip guy? He's a second. Most of these running backs are second-day guys. So you can get him on the second day here. Oh, Caleb Murphy's going to run. Let's see what he does. He did a 4.82. This is D lineman. I like this kid, Murphy. Come on, kid. 4.86. Not bad for a DT. 1.72 split, not quick. You want to see the guys in between 1.6 and 1.65 for your 10-yard split, because that means you got quickness off the ball. Dude, Jordan Davis was a freak show. I think he did a 1.55 split. He was a freak. Number 4, I got this kid, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bama, 5'11", 200. Little tiny for me. Chris Johnson, you think he's like that? No way. Chris Johnson from Memphis, that kid? Guy who ran a 4 flat 40? There's Brian Gutekunst, general manager. Excuse me, for the Packers. Dude, you got all the star general managers out. You know why? Because just like the Eagles, the people that know football know this is where you win ball games. I like Gibbs too. Coached in a good system, been coached by really good coordinators. How about this kid Sean Tucker from Cuse, 5'10", 210, another day 2 guy. Number 6, I got Tank Bigsby, Auburn, 6 feet, 213, another second day guy. Number 7, Devon Aki, Texas A&M, 5'11", 185, too small for me. This kid's a horse, this Ole Miss kid. Wow. 4'7", 2. These are spectacular times. I'll tell you what, here's the difference from my era to now. These kids are all 4'7", 4'8". You didn't have guys like Jerome and me running 4'8s like that. That was unheard of. That's why our speed back in the day, we were so dominant because we were so quick and fast. Nobody had 300-pound defensive tackles, 4 of them that ran under 4.9s and 300 pounds. I mean, Jerome ran a 4.8 at 310. This is 35 years ago. And I was 292 and I ran a 4.81. Cortez ran a 4.9 at 330. Russell Maryland ran a 4.9, 4.8, something like that at 295. These were all guys that played with me. These guys today, Yale, every one of these guys, though, man, are like 4'8", 4'7", 4'9". This is where you see the athleticism and the kids today versus the kids in my era. Most guys in my era ran 5 flats, 5 1s. The kids at Miami were different. That's why we beat everyone. Our entire deal, our DNs, Kevin Fagan and Danny Stubbs, they ran 4.5s. The 2 tackles in the middle at 300 pounds ran 4.8s. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to find a line like that today. Only at Bama and Georgia you're going to find that. This kid right here from Tennessee, this Brian Young ran a 4.51. He's an edge rusher. I thought he had a great game against Alabama. I would think of taking him on a second day. I played at Kutztown with Cortez's brother. That's cool, man. Maurice, that's cool. Hey, Maurice, did you play for you played at Kutztown? I think Andre Reed's out of there, isn't he? Maurice, I could have swore Andre told me he's out of Kutztown. Young 4.48. I'm looking at that kid. Look at that. They got DeAndre Hopkins, Nolan Smith is faster than Stephon Diggs and DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, so Nolan Smith is going to be the star of the day and the star of the combines like Jordan Davis was. Nolan Smith. He's faster than Stephon Diggs. And DeAndre Hopkins. That don't make you a football player. Nolan Smith.
According to Wikipedia, Nolan Sentinel Smith is an American.
He's a bulldog, too. 6'3", 235. College career. Let's see how productive. 3 sacks. God, these guys don't put a lot of numbers up. Oh, he went to IMG in Bradenton. You know what IMG is, right? It's a prep school that they take the elite kids in the country. They put you in this prep school, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I feel about it, but it's like a preparatory school before you get to college, and you get rewarded by scholarships to go here. So he's an IMG guy. I didn't realize that. That means he's gone through the recruiting processes as we speak. Kenara Miller from TCU, 6 feet, 220, another second-day guy. Keaton Mitchell, Eastern Carolina University, 5'9", 184, another second-day guy. Too small. Rashawn, you know, Texas had 2 backs. This kid Johnson, 6'2", 222, and Bijan Robinson. You know, you guys remember who was Terrell Davis? Like played at Georgia, and for whatever reason, Dolan didn't play him. What was his name? Dolan, the head coach of Georgia at the time. They didn't play him for some reason. I think he got hurt a couple times. There were other guys that were in the building. And Terrell Davis had no – Herschel Walker couldn't believe that this guy was treated the way he was. He's even apologized to how Georgia's treated Terrell Davis. And sometimes there's guys on your football team because they're such great players. Who's the guy that played with Ricky Williams in Texas? Yeah. Who was the guy that played? Who was the guy that played? Was it Pritchard? What was the guy that played with Ricky Williams at Texas? That went on to have a pretty damn good career. There was a guy, or Tony, do you remember there was a guy at Texas that played with Ricky, and he had a hell of a career. I forget who that guy's name was. It was another good back that they had there. Priest Holmes, that's it. Priest Holmes. Priest Holmes played with Ricky Williams in Texas. SJ goes, what are you watching? Defensive line running right now, SJ. That's kind of what I'm keeping an eye on. I'm watching some of the D-line that are taken off because at the 10th pick, the Eagles could be in a position to take an edge rusher. Yeah, Priest Holmes, he played with Ricky, and he was a heck of a ball player. He had a really good NFL career, I thought. So those are your college guys that I'm looking at. One guy's a day one guy. I think the rest of them are all day two. Maybe the last couple guys top of day three, something like that. Big Seals, do you think Tyree Wilson drops to 30? Absolutely not. The kid from Texas Tech? No way. Okay? No way. N'Kobe Dean, Nolan, and Beal. I missed that. N'Kobe Dean is watching the combines right now. And I believe these are going to be – these are shuttle drills now. Here's the free agent running backs. Would you pay the money for a 25-year-old Josh JAKIB? No. How about this one? Would you pay $7 million to Saquon Barkley to come play football in Philadelphia? Would you take Saquon Barkley? One year, yes. Yeah, what did Dean say? Those guys were fast, by the way. Very impressive on the D-line. Yeah, they're running shuttle drills now. Hey, Joseph, you weaken the Giants, you get Barkley for $7 million behind. Can you imagine Barkley and the Eagle offense? Barkley and the Eagle offense. You upgraded. Tony Pollard, can I tell you, I think the Eagles want to move off of what? You know what? I think they want to move off of Miles Sanders. I think they want a different back. I think they want a pass catching guy like Tony Pollard. That's why they went after Christian McCaffrey. They went after Christian McCaffrey because I think they want that pass catching dude. You know what I mean? I think they want that kind of guy. Okay. Hey, by the way, if the Cowboys cut Zeke Elliott, would you be interested in him as a red zone back like LeGarrette Blount? Would you bring him in? Why not? How about David Montgomery? Bears, 26. That's how old he is. How about David Montgomery? I actually like him. I think he's a pretty solid player up there. Watch him play. He runs tough. I like him. He's got good character. Does a lot in the community. Well, then here, know this. If you bring in a rookie, he better be a good pass protector. Because the one thing Miles Sanders is good at is pass protection. Most rookie running backs don't play. Why? Because they can't pass protect. Rashad Penny spent almost his entire career in Seattle in either the tub or on the bench because he couldn't block in pass protection for Russell Wilson. How about Jamal Williams? This kid had 1,000 yards last year. 28, Lions. Could be affordable. Could be affordable. I think he had 1,000 yards, right? Am I right? I don't think he'd be really that overly expensive. That's right. Tony's like, effing Miles was hit or miss in pass pro. Depend if he ate his Wheaties that Sunday. That's a shit pass protector. That's a guy who doesn't care. You can't be good one day and shitty another day. Sorry. That's just not giving a shit about your job. Leonard Fournette. I'd be interested in Leonard. What's he, 30 now? Wouldn't cost you a bunch. I'd be interested in Leonard Fournette. He's the next guy here. Shepard is Kareem Hunt. 28. Thought he was older. Productive kid earlier in his career. Now he plays with Chubb, so he's probably fresh. He's probably fresh because Chubb gets the carries. You know, won't be expensive. Fournette's 28. A lot of miles on that road. He had a ton of carries in Jacksonville. Dude, he was a really good catch. By the way, Leonard Fournette, he just evaporated, though. Now, the O-line in Tampa, to be fair, was also a shit show. And how about the kid from Buffalo? Devin Singletary, Bills, 26. I think all these guys will cost you about $4 or $5 million. The top guys will cost you about $7 million. Jacobs is going to cost you a ton because he's only 25. So wait a minute. Let me get this right. So the Raiders move off of Jacobs and Carr. Is this a money pinching thing? I thought the whole thing in Las Vegas was that they were making money hand over fist. So you're moving off of Josh Jacobs and your quarterback. You're saving $40 million on your quarterback and another 10. Boy, this sounds like really being cheesy in Las Vegas. Okay? All right, let me take a time out here. We'll take a look at some of these guys running here a little bit. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.